So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom to those who are joining us on YouTube. Shabbat Shalom to all of you on Zoom and to everyone who's here in the room as well. I'm going to share our prayer book, and let's just take a moment to breathe. I still need a moment to breathe. Let go of whatever is frazzling you. We're going to begin on page 126 in the bracketed numbers. People on Zoom, can you hear me okay? Good. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We turn to page 120 and 121 for the candle blessings, and Robin Bass is with us in person tonight. And so Robin is going to do the blessing over the candles. Mwah. Ooh, that was really loud. Okay, but Robin, you have to use a microphone. Yeah. Yes, that's an excellent idea. You have to hold it right up against your mask. There you go.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Just read it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you. We turn now to the Kiddush on page 123. Is there someone who would like to have the honor of doing the Kiddush, either on Zoom or in the room? Okay, how about in the room? Alan?
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor you made the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mikadesh ha-Shabbat.
If you're able, I invite you to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר קדשנו במצוותיו ורצוונו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת ותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן.
You may be seated. We are continuing with Kabbalat Shabbat, some psalms to welcome in the Shabbat. We're on page 130 in the bracketed numbers for L'chuna Ranana.
L'chuna Ranana, ya L'Adonai, ya la Narina, ya L'tzo yish'enu, ya let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. L'chuna Ranana, ya L'Adonai, ya Nariha, ya L'tzo yish'enu, ya
So I switched it up a little bit so that now instead of seeing the people in the sanctuary, you can see Noni in her own box on Zoom. She's in the sanctuary box, which is just going to be easier than continuously turning my laptop. And Michael Rose is on his way back from Nashville, and so when he gets back, we'll say, what happened with the webcam, Michael Rose? Page 128 is Shabbat Hamalka, the Shabbat Queen.
The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you,
The Baruch Hu is on page 264. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
On page 265, I invite you to read with me. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Those days in endless succession and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we are addressed by the world. In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with truth. At each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of Torah and truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On page 269 in the bracketed numbers, if you have two sets, let's read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Page 270.
Ya bye bye bim bim bum, ya bye bye bim bum, ya bye bye bim bim bum, ya bye bye bim bum, lie lie la la lie, ya bye bye bim bum, lie lie la la lie, ya bye bye bim bum. Mi chamocha baili madonnoi, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norod hiloto sefelle, norod hiloto sefelle, malechutecha ranu vanecha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeili anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leshalom, V'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, hashkivenu leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Yismechu v'malchutcha shomerei Shabbat, Yismechu v'malchutcha v'korei honeg, Yismechu v'malchutcha shomerei Shabbat, Yismechu v'malchutcha v'korei honeg. Shvi kulam yispehu v'yitangu mituvecha v'hashvi ratzita bo v'kidashta yismechu ישמחו במלכותך וקוראי עונג, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, ישמחו במלכותך וקוראי עונג. חמדת ימים מותו ברכתה, זכה למעשה, זכה למעשה בראשית. חמדת ימים אותו קראתה, זכה למעשה, זכה למעשה בראשית. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, ישמחו במלכותך וקוראי עונג, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, ישמחו במלכותך וקוראי עונג.
The tefillah begins on page 273. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagit hilatecha. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagit hilatecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Adonai, Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagit hilatecha. Adonai, Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagit hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagedol Hagibod v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר, מושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר, מחמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. Page 277. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah. Please read with me. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai, our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, be'amecha Yisrael, u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel. Tamid avodat Israel. Israel amecha. בשובך לציון. ברחמים. ברוך אתה Adonai, המחזיר שכינתו
We've come now to our blessing of gratitude. And so I would like to invite anyone who chooses to share something that you're feeling grateful for this evening. If you're on Zoom, you could put it in the chat or unmute yourself and share it with us out loud. And if you're in the room, you have to share it with us out loud. Robin?
No.
Robin says she's very grateful to be here tonight. It's like coming home. It is coming home. Linda Kushner-Silverman. Need to unmute, Linda.
All right. I'm very grateful that I'm an idiot savant when it comes to sewing.
Okay. Modima nachnu lach for that. Charlotte is grateful for, Karen Kramer is grateful for this beautiful service. Susan Sisler is grateful for the physical therapy sessions that she just started at Coney Island Hospital, which is another major step in her recovery. Charlotte is grateful for getting through another week. Patricia is grateful to be here. Lori Pandolfo says she likes the improved 2 screens tonight. Well, would you look at that? And also there's going to be a visit from her children and grandchildren tomorrow. I suppose we could just do it this way and not worry about a webcam. Who else is grateful for something? Freema, you are.
Okay, so I'm grateful for 2 gifts with no name, with no, that I received from Amazon, and I don't know who they are. And one of them was a big, big tower stuff from a basket something, and one of them was this huge box of Ferrero Rocher candy, and I have no idea where it came from because there is no card and no name and no nothing. So it's
Wow.
mystery gifts.
Yeah, so
Candy from heaven.
candies from heaven. Yes, Motima Nachnu Lach. Ron. Cool. So Ron is grateful for the wildlife and nature that's available to us in Brooklyn. Yesterday, he and Phyllis walked the Salt Marsh Nature Center, and they saw a hawk and an egret catching a fish. The egret caught the fish, right? Not the hawk and the egret. Right. Okay, Lori Silverman.
I'm grateful that my niece had surgery today. She did have a double mastectomy, but margins are clear. There's no anything in the lymph nodes, and there's no sign of spread. So I'm grateful for that.
Amen. Grateful for that as well. Monica is grateful to be here with everyone and for the comfort of this service. Linda Horowitz also really likes the 2 screens, and she's grateful to be here tonight and grateful for good health, family, and friends, and grateful to be able to see Michael Tornick, our accompanist. Diane also likes the 2 screens. Well, maybe we'll just keep them, and then I don't have to set up the webcam. We can do it this way, and then I can set up another iPad or my phone for the sanctuary. I mean, we can do that.
See, it was beshared.
We have the tools, we have the talent. That's a Ghostbusters quote, by the way. Yeah. Although, never mind.
Can I say something?
Yes, please, Diane Schenker.
I'm grateful for a lovely and kind and delicious rabbi. Thank you for yesterday's visit.
My pleasure. Delicious.
Yes.
Okay, well, Diane, you're delicious as well. Can I tell everybody about your family business?
Sure.
So Diane's family business, growing up, her family's family business, sold nuts and bolts, and the name of it was Mutual Screw. Just saying. I don't know why you're laughing.
Because you were hysterical.
So yeah, so Modim and Nachnu Lach that I get to be here with all of you. Nathan. All right. So Nathan's wife was applying for her green card and had the interview with you and what? With the people who approved that, and they already got notice that she's been approved. It went very well. So Mazal Tov and Modim Anachnu Lach. That's fantastic. Alan, did you have your hand up? No. Somebody else? Oh, good. Alan's always grateful. Catherine. So Catherine is grateful that yesterday morning I spoke for JASA, which was a wonderful experience for me as well. And so I'm grateful to have had that opportunity. Anyone else? Rita.
I'm grateful for having very loving, caring friends during a very difficult period of time in my life right now. And I'm very grateful for my friends.
Modim Anachnu Lach for friends.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anna?
Deanna, go ahead.
I am very grateful to be able to have this connection, even with just the phone, to my lovely congregation, and with the help of a number of the congregants helping me with the meeting numbers, etc. I appreciate it greatly, and I'm thankful also to be able, in my condition with my foot and back pain, to be able to at least manage, however slowly, to get from one room to another. Otherwise, I'd really be on idle luck. So I am really grateful for those two things. Thank you.
Amen. We're grateful that you're able to be here with us too, and hope that you get some computer action soon. For all
Yes.
these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. Shalom Rav is on page 282. We pray for peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. We come now to our quiet prayer. There are words on pages 283 to 285. If you can see the screen, there are words on the screen. But of course, we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך, לפניך. אדוני צורי, צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי
our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and our redeemer. Amen.
Amen.
We turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. I'd like to invite you, if you're on Zoom, to put names into the chat if you have not sent them in to Alice in the office. And I'll give everyone a chance also to add names aloud. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing Jesse Sakharov, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Allison Plummer, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Alan Fremer, Valerie Pace, George Landberg, Susan Bilecki, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Arlene Rosenthal, Michael Luck, Istvan Koloshvari, Randall Rose, Arthur Rose, Barbara Weiner, Joan Lifshitz, Amy Juskowitz-Soonseller, Deanna Roth, Martha and Ed Vincent, Ingrid Grosso, Audrey Cohen, Eddie DeAngelis, Ira Goldman, Vicki Lightnaker, Sarah Brooks Kamen, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Jeff Abel, Patricia Christensen, Monica Bayer, Patty and Erwin Cohen, Fran Arnowitz, Debbie Lichman, Beth Dugan, Arlene Scher, Hannah Paines, Karen Wilco, Shelley Samet, David Gershon, Stanley Tenen, Ronnie Katlowitz, Linda Kushner-Silverman, Jordan Smith, Peggy Harvey, Sandra Pastor, Claire Florence Kramer, Penny Fisher, Ellen Greenfield, Irv Golden, Joellen Fox, Brian Abelman, Robert Freed, John Vanderhorn, Donna Clement, Florence Schoen, Cynthia Wilson, Hiroko Yajima Rhodes, Rachel Korazim, Della Cohen, Rita Soul, Lou Levinson, Elliot Drucker, Ted and Albert Galerntner, Zita Novick, Rosa Gordon, Debbie Kosman, John Belay. Ellen Greenfield, Jody Siegel Stein, Saul Siegel, Sal Comiso, Lauren and Ian Silverman, Janet Schlesinger, Jerry Jaffe, Karen Kramer, Jennifer Magoob, Silva, Elena R.M., Chanel Kamabach, Warren Feliz, Jimmy Jenkins, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Abraham Kalesi, and those who have been harmed or are suffering in St. Vincent, Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, Israel, India, Afghanistan, and Haiti. Jerry Jaffe, Janet Schlesinger, Misty Davidson, Karen and Angie Swass, Kelly Quagliati, Noah Nesson, Steve Finkelstein, Debbie Grossman, Delphine Wolf, Dottie Tabachman, Pat Colella, Bill McShane, Paul Marr, Nancy Kelly, Baby James Scarpola, Elliot Woofsey, Susan Mishler Hernandez, Rhonda Kramer, Paul Markowitz, Mary Lou McGivney, and Karen Kramer. Paul Markowitz, sorry to hear that, Lori, and Henny Fisher. Those in the room, Alan.
Karen Eichel, Howard Mishkin, all of our U.S. citizens that are still trapped in Afghanistan, members of the New York City Police Department, and I'm happy to say Joe Levenstein is on his way to recovery. We were out this morning.
Oh, good. Nathan? Robin? Adrian? Freema?
Carol Beanstalk, Alan Bonick, Mitchell Popowitz, Francine Popowitz, Kathy's brother Gabby, Martin Bennett, Lucy Palazzolo, Reverend David Cohen, Phyllis O'Neill. Thank you.
Diane Schenker,
Robin Power, Charlotte Russell, Lotta Bloom.
anyone else? We also include all of those who are suffering from COVID-19 and those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, and those who have been hurt in other disasters, whether natural or human created. Our Misha Baruch is on page 371.
Berach Avotenu, Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu, Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Is there anybody on Zoom who doesn't like this setup better than the other one with the webcam? No? I'm seeing none. Fascinating. Okay. Well, that's really good to know. Always learning new things. Nothing is ever simple and nothing is ever straightforward, right? So in this week's Torah portion, Toldot, we continue to read about our patriarchs and matriarchs with all of their glaring flaws. Last week, we read that Rebekah and Isaac married, and he found comfort with her after the death of his mother, Sarah. This week's Parsha begins by telling us that he was 40 years old when he and Rebekah married. And it tells us about Rebekah's pregnancy and the birth of their twin sons, Esau and Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when the twins were born, according to the text. This Parsha offers no help for anyone looking for parenting role models, except perhaps to not parent the way that Isaac and Rebekah do. They each have a favorite son, which is not recommended in parenting, although at least each son got a parent who they were the favorite of, so it's better than if both parents favorited one son, right? But still, it's not ideal. And then, of course, we have that sticky situation where Rebekah plots with her favorite son, Jacob, the second-born, to deceive their father Isaac so that he gets the blessing intended for the firstborn son, Esau. This is not good. Rebekah and Isaac are more than just parents, though. They have a relationship of their own with each other, and it is different than the relationships our other patriarchs and matriarchs have in their own marriages. Like Sarah, Isaac's mother, and Rachel, Isaac and Rebekah's daughter-in-law, Rebekah is barren at the beginning of the marriage. They married when Isaac was 40 and had no children until he was 60. So they were married for 20 childless years. Still today, it is so difficult for so many women and their partners who struggle with infertility. Some spend thousands of dollars on fertility treatments because the desire to have children is so strong. In Rebecca's time, having children was so important both on a personal level and for societal standing. Women's value at the time of the Torah was closely tied to whether they could bear children. We see in the Torah that Sarah, Isaac's mother, felt this strongly. She forced her maidservant Hagar to be a surrogate for her in order to provide descendants for Abraham, not realizing that God was going to make it possible for her to have a son herself. There is no evidence that Abraham was particularly supportive of Sarah. In fact, when God tells him that Sarah will have a son, that Sarah will give Abraham a son, he laughs, and then he said, "Would that Ishmael would live by your favor." Here, he seems fine with the idea of the covenant with God being his alone, with Sarah not a part of it. And I think that is exactly the reason she wanted a child through a surrogate, so that because she feared that she would not be included in the covenant if there was not some child that was somehow connected to her. Abraham's willingness to have his descendants through Hagar's son and not Sarah's doesn't signal a lot of devotion to her, although God corrects him and says, no, it's going to be through Sarah. Isaac is different. He is the first man in the Torah about whom it says that he loved his wife. There is no indication that in 20 years of marriage without children that he ever considered taking a second wife, unlike his son Jacob, who ultimately has 4 wives. At the beginning of the Torah portion, we read that Isaac pleaded with Adonai on behalf of his wife, for she was childless. Oh, somebody's unmuted. Let's just take care of that. Okay. So Isaac pleaded with Adonai on behalf of his wife, for she was childless. The word translated here as on behalf of is linochach, which also means in front of. So not only does he pray for her to become a mother, he does so in her presence or with her knowledge. This is an act of empathy that we don't see from Abraham or from Isaac and Rebekah's son, Jacob. When Jacob's beloved wife Rachel is barren and says to him, "Give me children or I shall die," we read, Jacob was incensed at Rachel and said, "Can I take the place of God who has denied you fruit of the womb?" Far from praying for her, Jacob is defensive and certainly not empathetic. We might ask how Isaac developed this empathy. Perhaps it came from the losses and hardships of his own life. His older brother Ishmael and Ishmael's mother, Hagar, being sent away by his own father and mother, his near death by sacrifice at the hands of his father, and the death of his mother. Some people respond to loss and hardship by withdrawing from others, by hardening themselves to protect themselves from further hurt. Some hurt others as they were hurt. Others respond to loss and hardship with increased empathy, recognizing pain in others as they have felt it themselves and reaching toward them, offering support. We know that Isaac is very attached to the land, that he walks in the fields, perhaps meditating. These kinds of practices are healing practices, and perhaps they helped Isaac heal to the point that he could be open, could fall deeply in love with his wife, and could empathize her and recognize infertility as not just her problem, but their problem. Like everyone, Isaac had flaws, but he also had virtues. May we follow his example of empathy in our own lives. May the losses and hardships each one of us suffers make us more able to empathize with the pain of others. May we seek out practices that will help us to heal. May the loving presence of the divine, in whatever way we understand the divine, be with us. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Lador vador nagid God lecha. Lador vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Lador vador, these lips will praise your name. Lador vador, these lips will praise your name.
We turn now to the Elenu, beginning on page 586 at the top of the page. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. I have shared the yard site list to the screen, and also you have a copy of it in your bulletin, those of you who are here in the room. I'd like to invite people on Zoom, if they choose, to add names of anyone for whom you're saying the mourner's Kaddish in the chat, and I'll also give everyone a chance to add names aloud. We remember those who have died in the past year. Moshe Usher Reinitz, Huma Saber, Lila Bloomfield, John Carfisi, Andy Glantzman, Todd Zeitlin, John Previtt Jr., Augie Dorio, Janet Esposito, Kay Josephs, Arnold Block, Elizabeth Clark, Kyle McGee Sr., Ida Houston, Louisa Espute, Perry De La Touche, Ira Roth, Roberta Hayrath, George Liss, the Reverend Claude Park Street, Sylvia Tishkovich, Ellen Belofsky, Cindy Retagliata, Dolores Weinberger, Suzanne Leknos, Shirley Kafker, Lillian Frost Ridgely, Thomas Marinin, Meg Goldate, Marguerite Romeo, John Young, Isadora Frost, Fred Perlman, Claire Kramer, Bob Ira Kleinberg, Dorothea Schuring, Peter Brandenberger, Lloyd Ricketts, Ellie Heimlich, Sherry Burns, Terry Singer, Henry Kuhn, Lily Zimmett, Bob Perlman, Ira Berkowitz, Bayumi Mohammed, Amy Zisovic, Mary Holland, Dorothy Webster, Robert Allen Santos Sr., Robert Bonenfant, Barry Strumpf, Judy Epstein, Dorothy Mason, Judy Panzer, Barry Ween, Charlotte Brown, David Schechter, Douglas Maines, Devorah Lewis, Tria Sapir, Jane Evans. On our yard site list this evening are included Bernard Baer, Fred Baer's father, Alvin Miller, Frima Schneier's brother-in-law, Louis Schnall, Ellen Rothstein's brother, Sidney Plattner, who I believe was Susan Radau's father, and Hannah Senish, who was Hannah Senish. We include also Peggy Harvey, Oswan Taylor, and Morris Schneider, Janet's dad and Grace Schneider's husband. Who, if you have names to add and you're in the room, I invite you to rise or raise your hand. If you're on Zoom and want to add names aloud, I invite you to raise your hand electronically or unmute yourself. Alan?
Richard Rosenthal, Miles Cleveland, and an interesting note about Hannah Senish. The nickname of the Hannah Senish school is the Paratroopers.
Is it? Oh, the nickname of the Hannah Senish School is the Paratroopers. Makes sense. Robin? Our list is for the coming week. So I think your father was on it last week. Folks on Zoom, do you have any other names that you would like to add? I think Freema might have, but she got a phone call. Ruth, you look like you're unmuted. Do you have names to add? Maybe not. Okay. We also include all of those around the world who have died from COVID-19. And we include those who have died from other causes, whether in war or famine, terror or disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Come on. Having an issue. What is going on? What is happening? Okay, let's try that again. Okay, that's better. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. I invite you, if you're able, to rise and join in or to participate according to your own custom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim Elenu ve'el kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Elenu ve'el kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say, amen. You may be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
I'd like to invite our president, Adrian Knoll, to come to the Bima and announce announcements.
Shabbat Shalom all. Thank you as always to Rabbi Heidi and to our amazing music department, Noni and Michael Tornick. And it's just such a pleasure listening to both of you. Thank you to Alan Zarrow and to Robin Bass for doing the blessings tonight. Let's see. Tomorrow we have religious school and we have Biyachad, which is on Zoom. Biyachad begins at 10, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. And then let's see. Sunday, a lot of people have signed up to watch this movie, An Unknown Country, which is 4 o'clock on Sunday. Their Zoom link is actually in the What's Happening that was sent out. And there's going to be a Q&A with the filmmaker. So that should just be great. Tuesday, 1 o'clock, Torah study on Zoom. On Tuesday night, this is great. Women of Beshert is having our congregant, Melody Winnower, who's going to talk about her new book, Anticipation, which just came out. And this is her official book party, book launch party as well. I'm reading that book now. It is fantastic. So good. So I urge everyone to read that.
Amazon. So.
Yes. And Wednesday confirmation class here in person. Wednesday night for anyone who happens to be on the executive board, there's an executive board meeting at 7:15. An agenda will go out as soon as I do it. Choir rehearsal Thursday. For those who've been waiting for Noni's choir to come back, the masked singers of Beshert are going to be rehearsing for the Hanukkah service. So that starts Thursday, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock to 8:30. So please do come because,
We'll all be safe, we'll distance,
yes,
we're all
everyone's
good
going to be socially distanced, everyone's going to be masked,
and vaccinated.
the more the merrier, really. So I think that's it for this. Oh, no, let me tell you what else we're doing here. Giving Tuesday is coming up the end of November, so please mark that on your calendar. It's November 30th. And you have to get on early on Facebook because the money disappears like very, very quickly, and they'll match anyone who donates by, quickly. So let's do that. Our holiday online craft fair, the closing date is November 15th. We're partnering with a couple of artisans on Etsy, and a portion of anything you buy will go back to Temple. And finally, for anyone who wants to be a singing Hanukkah elf, we're having Hanukkah caroling here On November 28th and December 5th, we're going to be, well, not me, other people are going to be singing simple holiday tunes in the neighborhood. If you're interested, contact Ellen Rothstein or Joni Schaefer, our membership chairs. Shabbat Shalom. Have a great week.
And if you don't know how to contact Joni and Ellen, call the office. Contact the office and Alice will put you in touch. We are going, am I on? No. Now I'm on. If you don't know how to contact Joni or Ellen, please just contact Alice in the office and she'll hook you up. We are going to close this evening with Mipi El, Ein Adir. I'm not sure what page it's on in the prayer book.
632.
632. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, אין אדיר כאדוני ואין ברוך כבן עמרם, אין גדולה כתורה ואין דשנך כישראל. מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, אין הדור כאדוני ואין ותיק כבן עמרם, אין צעקה כתורה ואין חכמך כישראל. מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, אין טהור כאדוני ואין יחיד כבן עמרם, אין כבירה כתורה ואין למדנך כישראל. מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, אין פודה כאדוני ואין צדיק כבן עמרם, אין קדושה כתורה ואין תומכך כישראל. מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל, מפי אל יבורך כל ישראל.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, Rabbi Noni Michael.
Thank you, Noni. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
Rabbi.
Shabbat, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Noni.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
wanted
you
to
for service.
Shabbat shalom to everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Doris, are you feeling better now?
Yes, I'm feeling okay now.
Good, good.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. Be well, everybody.
You too. You too.
Safe home, everyone.
Have a good week. Be well.
Bye-bye. Bye, Monica.
Safe home. Hi, Ruth.